People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, I kind of touched on this briefly in my post-game reviews following our draw against Bournemouth, but with it being Arteta's first game to commence his tenure at this club, might as well hear or just go through what he's had to say and kind of touch again on what we saw tactically and things like that. Before I begin, I think one thing Arsenal fans got to learn with where they went wrong with, some went wrong with Emre, is being quick to either be pessimistic on Arteta or to proclaim, because during that initial period of last season, games were we were flattering to deceiving in games, but for whatever reason, people were so quick to proclaim this and that, and they weren't wrong with that if they genuinely believed that. But what I believe is let's just acknowledge the period he's just arrived here. Let's praise and critique fairly, but let's not draw any conclusions, positive or negative. Let's keep the positive, obviously. Think he's going to do well and stuff. Listen, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. And I like him. I mean, first thing I'll praise Arteta as well before I get into it is because under Emre there was no identity, and there's still no identity in the team. But immediately, within reason, you saw what we wanted to do. Greater emphasis pressing. There was a bit more purpose with playing out from the back. Again, there was still the same old issues. Again, we weren't perfect. And what I like, in which, obviously, it was a poor game for a team that wants to be in the top floor. It was atrocious. But in the context of how we've been as a club, and this season is one of our better performances. Do you get what I'm saying? And I'm sure you do. We went from saying that Arsenal are creating no chances to creating chances, but there's no quality of the chances. And again, that's nothing to be excited about. But the very fact that we're creating more chances than we've done previously, and there's a bit more intent, is something for me to be positive about. Like I said, praise and critique fairly, but that's a step in the right direction. Remembering what it means to be Arsenal, our midfield looked a tiny bit better as well. And let's just speak about that crap last, man. I just made a vid, but a couple of things I saw as well. Now, we can't draw too many conclusions, but what I like to see is, how can I draw this very quickly? Let's just go 4-3-3. Make you free at the back quickly. Let's just, it'll be easier with a flat midfield 3. Let's just say you're a defensive flat midfield 3. In fact, what am I doing, man? That's dead. Let's just go with the strikers. Bring you lot closer. Cool, quickly. 2 keepers. What I like to see, and I don't want to draw too many conclusions, yeah, because at the end of the day, when we conceded the goal, we were caught playing. Well, let's just show it here, innit? We obviously got caught playing out from. They pressed us high. We actually did alright playing out from the back, people, really and truly. Because teams are obviously, because they know how they want to play, are going to press us high. And I think Bournemouth did well at that. We obviously got out, and then Saka and Aubameyang, give or take, whoever's fault it was, somebody lost the ball and they countered attack. But if you saw Luiz and Torreira, people, for the goal, let's just say play began and people are defending, it was another midfield runner. He weren't picked up until it was too late. So there's something, that's the first thing we need to obviously improve as a team, people. I can't lie, I made a mess of this. We're upside down now. Where is everybody attacking? There we go. So that was one of the first things. That's where we obviously went wrong. But I was seeing a better emphasis on that. And in terms of playing out from the back, obviously one thing I liked, I was only there on TV, watching it on TV. But it's like you could hear Arteta coaching players through the game. And obviously I weren't there, so it might be something different. But let's just disregard him, or just say Lacazette and Aubameyang are more as a striker. Saka was gone, and it's like Xhaka was kind of marking this space. And there was a great emphasis in limiting the space in behind the fullbacks, people. Do you get it? Normally, teams are trying to exploit these spaces, but it just seemed with Xhaka doing that, with Arteta telling him, there's a great emphasis for that. And obviously, with Maitland-Niles, I'm sure you all saw it as well as the team went on, making it irrelevant now. It's like as we went forward and people went narrow, it's like Maitland-Niles was coming inside people and becoming a central midfielder, which is something kind of weird. And also, I don't need to show you lot. We don't need to talk makeshift scenarios up to know. You lot saw yourself. There was a great emphasis on trying to win the ball back, or the closest person pressing and trying to disrupt the play. It'll be a long way before we are a fully good pressing team, because I do think when you look at certain individuals, I don't think they're as tenacious or able to do that. Not sure if the stamina levels are that high, and we're able to do that from start to finish in games. But there was a greater emphasis on that. And like I said, just because we shot more, like let me actually bring that up, people. I'm sure we had a decent amount of shots in that game. Definitely more shots than we previously had. I'm sure it was something like 17. I could be wrong. But we definitely had more shots than we have in previous games. Now, we failed to hit the target and failed to take our chances. But yeah, like, Arsenal had 17 shots, people, 2 on target, which is poor, of course. But that's a dramatic improvement on recent games, people. Because if I go back, for example, and I say the Everton game where obviously he weren't in charge, we had 6 shots, 2 on target. So the same identical number was still toothless, but you get the point. Now against City, which is an anomaly, again 6 shots, we're at home, it's a top 6 side, City always blast us. Looking at the West Ham game, we had 10 shots, 3 on target. We obviously know we were only good in that game, West Ham away, for 9 minutes, where we scored them 3 goals. The last one I'll look at quickly, fair play, we had 12 shots against Brighton, 5 on target. But away from stats, it just appeared we had a greater emphasis on shooting or trying to get back to that sort of thing, people. Following the game, Arteta obviously said, I'm pleased with the attitude and the character of the team. He said, I'm pleased with some things I've seen in terms of attitude, character and passion we showed. The fight and the spirit the team showed, it was spot on. Probably better than I expected over 90 minutes. A lot of things that happened in the game, we prepared. They understood them and they tried to take them on board. We lacked final end product at the end. Now, obviously, that's a problem in itself, but I did think we showed a bit of character and whatnot, fair play. And it's nice to see that. And what I like to see is that Arteta gives them confidence and he's not digging players out regardless of what he might feel. But he does give you little things when you read between the lines that he's not exactly confident in the players. Now, he just said probably more than I expected over 90 minutes. And I'm sure I've read this. He said something about the players. So he said certain other things like this. So he's just feeling a lot doesn't go past him, people. But obviously the key thing now is to restore confidence and just pride in the players and the shirt. He obviously said it would have been great if when he spoke about end product, he said it would have been great because it would have given us a better lift in terms of the energy and the confidence. But we have to analyse the performance. There are positives to take. And obviously a lot of room for improvement in other areas. When pressed on how psychologically we can lift these players, he said, it will be a process. I was worried that would happen if we conceded a goal. Another one, he was worried. We did, and I was very pleased with the character they showed. They came in at half-time and their faces, their reactions were spot on. It's about how much they wanted it. Normally, when you're in this process and you can see the goal, the confidence goes down and a lot of things that have happened in the past can come back. It didn't. It happened in the complete opposite sense, and that's a really positive thing to take on board. Now, I think there was a response in the second half, but I slightly disagree. Now, Arteta's the manager, but just me as a football fan, I feel that's the one criticism I can have from a within reason positive performance. When we did concede that goal, at least to the end of the half, it did seem like we lost our confidence and we was going back into old habits. Just basically what I saw, but fair play, man. Moving on, he spoke about Mesut Ozil. He said, to be fair, in training, since the day I walked in the building, his attitude has been spot on and incredible. I've seen this. I've said that I was going to give a clean slate to everybody and it was fair to give it to him. When we did the game preparation and were watching the opponents where we could hurt them, we believed that he could be a key point. We prepared the game like this with him. He responded what we had to do and we could have scored 2 or 3 more goals because of him, which is 100% correct, people. We potentially could have, but we didn't. Aubameyang, our captain, I didn't even know he spoke after the game. It said, obviously, he scored his 12th goal at the ground, 12th goal of the Premier League this season. He said, we missed a lot of chances in the second half. We should have got the 3 points today, but that can happen. The attitude from the boys was great, but we have to improve in taking our chances. The mentality was good, so that's nice for the future. We did have a lot of chances, Aubameyang, you're right. And maybe yourself included should have taken more. But he said, when pressed on seeing more passion and aggression, he said, I think so. I think everyone gave his maximum. We can expect that for the next games. When asked on what Arteta specifically said at halftime, he said, He just said to continue with the same engagement and try to play, to respect our plan. That he just wanted us to keep working in the second half. That's it, really. He started, when asked about how Arteta's improving us, he said, he started with the basics that we're working on tactically. He has great ideas, so we'll try to follow him by working hard. Is there anything else? He said, when asked on how he is as a man manager, he said he's a good man, he was a player like us, so there's a good feeling in the dressing room. On whether we fulfilled Arteta's aims in the game, yeah, I think so. Everybody was working hard, we had a good attitude, and we were trying to play the way he wants. Finally, when asked on in terms of positive to take, he said, as I said, today the lads did very well, we gave everything, and that's what we have to do in these games. And that's true, man. There's not much more we could do. Hopefully we do well against Chelsea and whatnot. Fingers crossed. And what I like I said, in terms of the space point people, a quote from Arteta, I believe he said, is, if you keep the ball, then the opposition will get tense and want to get aggressive. This will force them to break out of their positions. And this is when you expose the space. Patience. That's the difference between a good player and a top player. So he's aware of how that can hurt opposition, but he's also aware of how oppositions can use that to exploit us. And it's about fine margins. And it's whether we're able to improve in that aspect's another thing. But it's nice to hear a manager speaking about these sort of things, people. Which is, like I said, man, it's quite positive, really and truly. I guess we've got to speak about Lacazette as well. I was going to do this in another vid, but I guess we've got to speak about him now. Fans are extreme. This was a player of the season last year, and certain fans are now getting onto him and saying he should be sold and whatnot. With his contract and all these things, and maybe balance of the team, these things are legit. But I do think people have to have some respect on Lacazette. I think his time will come this season. I think he will have a part to play. I think he's a good player. I think fans need to recognise it's a squad game. There will be games... there's been games where Aubameyang and Lacazette deserve to both start because they're hitting it off. Right now we look imbalanced, and they didn't help their cases playing together in the last game. So one needs to come out the side. So I think fans need to be respectful to Lacazette. What I will say though is that I love Lacazette, but he looks a shadow of his former self. First thing I look at him, he looks confident. His confidence is gone. And he's not playing in the form to suggest that if he really was saying he wants to get Champions League teams, he's not going to get that. He had about 3 chances to score. He's looking a bit slow. I think I've been saying his creativity. I believe, while I recognise his creativity and he's a fantastic player in big games in particular, I do think the creative excuse people come with is kind of overstated. I don't think he's that creative. I think he's a baller. He's technically good. Lacazette's a bad boy, but I think it's overstated. And to be fair, you wonder how much is to do with injuries as well. I think his confidence is gone because he's just gone because he's playing poorly. He's been dropped. His form's not been there. France is probably on the back of his mind, which is unrealistic. The way the team's been, there's question marks over his future. He's also 28, so he's got to decide what he wants to do. So I don't think he's clear in the mind. He has had a couple knocks, and has he not had knocks from pre-season? Not using it as an excuse, but what I mean by has he ever been fully ready to do this thing this season? Because he was our player of the year last year. He's got quality, but he just hasn't been hitting it. In the league or whatever, has he not got 12 appearances, 5 goals and 1 assist or so? So he's still a good player. I think Lacazette is a big game player. He does his thing, but equally, you want to see him pull it out. For me, he should be getting 20 league goals. He's good enough to get that. Away from home, I don't really see enough. I think his form has been poor. If he really said he wants to play Champions League football, I can't see what team is going to sign you for the alleged fees if you're playing like that. He just needs to pull it out, really and truly. And to be fair, I want to keep both our strikers because I believe we should be looking at beyond the contract stuff, because we should be looking at other areas to improve. But I must admit, in the form he is in now, it's the strongest case I'm seeing the strongest argument, and I'm starting to not turn around and believe it, but it's right now it's as clear. Certain people saying sell Lacazette and whatnot. There is a case to sell him. I believe in Lacazette. I think he'll come good. I think he's low on confidence, but he just hasn't been pulling it out. And for me, the work rate's been there, but he's not even away from the goals. He just looks a shadow of his former self, really and truly at times, man. So he needs to sort it out. I think he'll get through it. It's not just him who's been poor, but when you're Lacazette, we're gonna ask questions of you. So yeah, I don't think I've got much more to add. Obviously, I'm sure you've all seen the transfers and whatnot, people being linked with this club and that club, so we don't need to go over that. Nothing substantial to speak about beyond El Nene's dad saying he's going AC Milan. Xhaka's apparently agents come out and spoken and all these things, but for now, DG.